Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. I hope everybody's having a great day and this wonderful time of the year. I love this time of year. It's the time of year we get to get in the mood, and we get to remind ourselves why it's important to support local businesses and local communities. As people look for those unique gifts and want to go spend some time walking around in their communities, this is the time of the year to do it. And of course, I like to spend a little bit of time up in the Mississippi Delta, too, during this time of year. My home away from home. I love it there for sure. Listen, today's actually a Jackson County Mayor Day. We have the mayor of the city of Moss Point, one of my favorite cities, Billy Knight, joining us for the first half of the show. And then the mayor of Pascagoula, Jay Willis, is going to be joining us for the second half of the show. So without any further ado, let's move over to my friend, Billy Knight, my hero, the man who's reinvented himself I don't know how many times in his career. He could have rode off into the sunset many, 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 many years ago, but he's still in the trenches swinging for the good of Moss Point. So it's a thrill to see you, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Rick. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for having me on again.
I don't think you've been on since we were there in Moss Point for Cruising the Coast. I had a great visit there, a wonderful visit there.
Yeah, no, we have not been on since that time, Rick. It's good to see you again, and let me thank you again and all of your team for coming to Moss Point on Cruise the Coast. It was a great day.
It is a great day, man. The lingering effect of that is people come into the city and get to some of them seeing it for the first time, some of them picking that as the place they're going to put their anchor down during the entire Cruising the Coast event. But what a great event, and what a great way to showcase Moss Point during that event, isn't it?
It is, Mike. Rick, we had, the first year here we had, back in 21, we had, I think, 300 cars. Next year we had 500 cars. The year after that we had 800 cars. Last year, Rick, we had 4,000 cars here in Moss Point all day on that Tuesday, and it was a great affair. And there are a lot of people who tell me, Rick, that they really want to prefer coming to Moss Point than any other place, and it's kind of humbling to hear that, but they say that every year, so I'm beginning to believe that.
Well, what's great about the event, and you and I have talked about this before, but it's great to remind people about this, that what's so cool about the event is if you think about other events like hot summer nights and I think it's Las Vegas or Nevada, wherever it is. It's an event where cars go and they park and they ooh and ah over each other's cars, but it's not literally a cruising event. What's great about this event is it's a cruising event. And while there are key moments during the cruising event, like that Tuesday, where SuperTalk was actually in Moss Point with a live remote, each city has this opportunity to do something special. And what ends up happening is that people, let's say my friends, we got to know each other. I'm from Michigan. Somebody else is from Pennsylvania. Somebody else is from Mississippi or Alabama or wherever. They met through the cruising event. They enjoyed each other's company. And they say, hey, let's come back here again next year. We'll use Moss Point as the base station. And then we'll go to all these cruising events in other places, but we'll always come back here. That's what happens. And that's, given that downtown Moss Point, the River City, is literally, from your office, you can go out on your balcony and see the river. There's something that's attractive about that. People like that feeling. And that's the beauty. People might want to go to Bay St. Louis and have the Mississippi Sound of Bay St. Louis as what they see. But people find the things they like and they kind of put their anchor down and then they drive from there. That is what's happened in Moss Point. And I love it because it's given Moss Point an opportunity to be showcased to this national, really even international audience. And man, you can't put a value on that.
No, Rick, we had people from all over the country, like the other part of the coast. We had people from Canada and Missouri and Ohio, and it is getting to be a family affair from the standpoint of a reunion every year. This is where they meet up for their family, their Cruising the Coast family, to come back every year for a family reunion. And they look forward to it. They enjoy walking through our city. We have City Hall open. They can come in here, use the restrooms, and get out of the heat for a moment. They can walk through the building. I'm usually there and talk to them and show them around. And, they're excited about that because they say they don't get that in most other cities. And we glad to have that kind of hospitality that we can reach out and give them.
It also helps as you guys continue to increase the number of small businesses located downtown. It helps them find some success. As you've talked about it before, you want to find more Christmases. Christmas is the time when people buy gifts and go to shop at small businesses, and it's a shot in the arm from an economic point of view. Cruising the coast is that for you. You want to create more moments like that, and as you continue to grow the downtown, it then kind of becomes its own little economic engine. And I think people are beginning to see that vision, aren't they?
Yeah, people are coming because they know we got these 4 or 5 Christmases a year downtown. So businesses, want to be a part of that environment, And for the first time this year, we had our Welcome Center open, and we had souvenirs there where people could buy something with Moss Point on it. They could buy cups and T-shirts and, a lot of different paraphernalia. And that's what they wanted. That's what they've been asking for. And they wanted more place to eat. So we had 2 more new buildings, businesses downtown where they could get something to eat. And so they was real happy about that. But they're still saying, Mayor, you need to get more. You need to get more. And, of course, I like to hear that because that's what we're trying to do.
So what's the latest as you think about your vision for the city? What could happen at I-10? The real opportunities for the city to build its economic base. What's the latest in your vision as it relates to that?
Well, right now we got Ford and Lincoln is building their store out on 6-3. Hopefully by the first of the year, you're going to have Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram is going to be across the street from that on 6-3. Tractor Supply just opened up this past April. And the other little small shops that has opened up during the past year. So that's an exciting time for us. And that is, our business growth. That's our growth area for economic development. So we're fastly growing and try to get ready to do the infrastructure on I-10. And that will be another opportunity for us on I-10, that once we get the infrastructure and open up that service road in front of Cracker Barrel, there was more opportunity for us. So that is our growth, and that's where our economics is going to be. And I'm happy to be a part of that process, Rick.
It is this tremendous location. You think about people coming in from Alabama, just the number of people on I-10 traveling back and forth. The more commerce is there that people can participate in, the better. But you combine that with growing the sense of place downtown and other aspects of Moss Point, and you really are in the process, and the recreational work that you did and how the voters supported that effort, and ultimately your reelection as mayor. Do you find that the voters and more importantly, the citizens of Moss Point are beginning to see the vision for the city as it unfolds?
Yeah, they are beginning to see that, Rick. It's a struggle, and it's people just resist the change, and it takes longer than I wanted to take, but you have to bring people along so they can understand the vision and what you're trying to do. And the most important thing is trying to get our public to understand that we're all going to be better off because of it. This is not a disadvantage. This is an advantage to have these changes, because once you have the change, we're all going to be better off because of it. But we're just afraid of change because we get comfortable where we are. And it's kind of hard to get people out of that comfort zone. But when we can show them that it's going to be better for all of us, especially their children, because that's what it's about for me, Rick. It's about the future. And I'm trying to build something here. You know what I say, Rick? I'm planting a tree that I'll never see.
Yeah, you are. You are. I have in this book that I've been writing about hope, I have it's like the second to last lesson is about legacy. And, legacy isn't about headlines or awards. It's really about the hope we leave behind. Think about how I'm saying that. It's about the hope we leave behind. And if we leave hope in our kids and our kids' kids, and that hope is left in the form of opportunity and a great place to live and all of that, what that means ultimately is our kids and our kids' kids don't have to leave here to realize their potential. And I love the way George Schlegel talked about it when he said, I don't care if they remember me or not, that the things I was involved with give people a reason to come back to our paragraph. I will have achieved my goal. That's literally the way you're thinking about it, isn't it, Mayor?
Absolutely. That's the way I'm thinking about it, Rick. I say you got to give people a reason to want to come to Moss Point. And it's not about me, but what is around here, what is in Moss Point that make people want to be a part of that. So you build a community that people want to be a part of. That is people, that's places, those are things, those are activities. You build all of that so people want to be a part of that. So whether I'm around or not, it's what I leave behind is what I want people to be a part of. Because if it was about me, when I'm gone, then the idea is gone. But no, it's about the legacy of what do I leave behind.
What are the enduring values, the enduring thoughts that you leave that stand the test of time long after we're gone? That's what I'm thinking about. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the mayor of Moss Point. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. We're visiting with my friend Billy Knight, the mayor of Moss Point, and my hero, because here's a guy, I mean, he's in his 80s and he's still swinging. He got reelected and he wants to make a difference. And you know what? It's interesting. You say that you're planting trees you'll never enjoy the shade of. That's sort of part of that legacy statement. But it's got to be a little frustrating because, see, the thing is about change, the democratic process, it takes time. It takes time to get everybody on the same page. It takes time to make, you think about codes and zoning and infrastructure improvements and, adding streets where they're not streets now and all these things. Working with MDOT and the federal government over changes at I-10 and all, it takes time, and you don't feel like you have the time. But look, it's not because of your age. I'm saying just any mayor, you're there usually for a relatively finite period of time, and you want more gratification faster. That's probably a little bit frustrating for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Richard. It is both parts. It is because of age, but also because you only got 4 years to do this work. And I'm grateful that the people allowed me 4 more years to complete continue what we started. And it is frustrating because it is so time consuming to get things done, bringing people along to agree with you, but also going through all the governmental red tape that you have to go through. So it does take time. But what happens now, Rick, where I am now is, we had a lot of ideas, got a lot of vision, a big vision for the city. But now with 3 more years, I got 3 more years. And what you have to do now is narrow down your vision to say, okay, what can we really get done? Let's be more realistic about this vision. And let's look at what is that we really realistically get done in the next 3 years. So I'm meeting with your architects now to say, we got this big vision. Okay, we're talking about I-10, we're talking about downtown. So what is it now that we really can look at and break this up in pieces to say that we really could get done within the next 3 years? Because I really want to be able to lead something that people can say that we actually did and you can enjoy it. I don't want something half done. I want it completed that people can start enjoying it at some point. And so you just kind of reshape your vision and look at what you can really get done now in 3 or 4 years.
I can only imagine. Here you are sitting in your office overlooking the Pascagoula River. You've got Trent Lott Airport. You've got I-10. You've got these strategic things, these assets that make this the opportunities in the future. I mean, some of this is not opportunities in the future. Some of these are opportunities unfolding before our very eyes. Absolutely. But your phone rings, and it's the MDA or somebody that's saying, you're not going to believe this, but we're talking to such and such, which wants to kick some tires in your town. And I bet you've gotten those calls and you start to get your head around, holy mackerel, man, if they land here, this is a game changer. You probably have in your mind right now stuff that's underway right now that you can't talk about for all good reason, that if they come to fruition would literally be a game changer. And it's not a phone call that might happen. It's a phone call that's already happened. Is that in your head? Is something like that in your head already?
Absolutely, Richard. I don't know how you know it, but it is some things that could happen. And I got my fingers crossed that it can happen before I leave here. And even if it happens after I'm gone, that's fine because we got it started while I was here. But there are about 3 or 4 different things that if any one of them happen, will be a financial economic game changer for Moss Point. Because Moss Point problem is not having enough resources to do what it needs to do. But there's some things that can happen within Moss Point that would be a game changer. And once that happens, Rich, other things going to happen because of that. That's what's so good about it. One big thing happened, and then other things start to happen on its own. You don't even have to pursue it. It just started happening on its own because of that one thing that happened. And you think about, please, cities like that put Walmart, when you put a Walmart there as an anchor, then everything pops up around Walmart that you didn't even know was going to show up. And that's what we're talking about here. We got 1 or 2 things that if it happens in Moss Point, will be a game changer only in itself. But it's also a game changer because it's going to bring so many other things with it that we don't even know about.
Yeah, I get it. And because of the strategic location of Moss Point relative to I-10 and relative to Mississippi and Alabama and just anyone on that, I mean, just the opportunities are enormous. Hey, listen, one of the most important things the mayor does administratively is it deals with fire safety and public safety. These are a huge part of what you do. And, every community has challenges in this regard, and they're addressing it in different ways. But recently, there's been some headlines related to Moss Point. You can remind people what the headlines were, but what's the latest on resolving this important public safety issue that you had?
Yeah, we're on our way, Richard. And one of the things that when I talk about giving people reason to want to come to Moss Point, part of that is you got to have good public safety. You got to have good recreation. You got to have good school districts. And so we're trying to work on all of that. And public safety is one of those things. I got our fire department going. Neither one of these departments, Rick, is staffed to the level that it ought to be. And it all tied to economic development, it all tied to resources. We don't have the funds. But our chief, Davis, who's our fire chief, is doing a great job in managing what we have. And we've got our fingers crossed that this coming year, Texas is going to be better, that we'll get some resources to give him the staff he needs. In the police department, we did have some real issues there because our chief resigned, and it was after suspension that we had to put him under because he failed to notify the board and the mayor about a domestic violence case in one of his offices. So we suspended him, and over time, he decided to retire. And so he resigned. Of course, he's working now for the sheriff department. But today, matter of fact, Rick, we started interviewing for our new chief. And we have an interim chief now, interim chief Stevenson. Dennis Stevenson, who's been a minister in our community for 18 years. And he's a retired highway patrolman, and he was in leadership there. And so we got a great guy now as our interim chief, and he's also being interviewed to be the permanent chief. And they were interviewing, I think it was four men that applied for the position that they agreed to interview. We had 10 applications, Rick, and they narrowed it down to 4. And I know you know former Chief Wayne Payne from from D'Iberville. Chief Payne agreed to head that interview team up for me. And so he's leading the team, and Sheriff Ledbetter, who's our county sheriff, is on the team, and 2 of our aldermen that was policemen, they're on the team. And another chief from the coast, that Chief Payne got a police chief that he got to be with him. So we got 5 people headed up by Chief Payne that's interviewing people starting today for the permanent position of our chief.
I love that. I love the way Good. Hey, listen, the Wayne family, it's the Payne family, I go back real far with them. But I know the chief that you're speaking of very specifically. In 1979, I actually worked as a paramedic for Mobile Medic when I was in pre-med. And I met a lot of people then, a lot of members of the Payne family then. And then fast forward my work at the Sun Herald. Anyway, Wayne and I have crossed paths so many times I can't even imagine. But incredible contribution, long time contribution to the community. Once again, multiple members of that family have reinvented their careers along the way, have shown up from city to cities to the county and all points in between. I think it's terrific that you have him kind of heading that discussion. And it sounds like you've got some real stars involved in that as well. You're going to land in a great place. Listen, Moss Point is a wonderful city. It's got challenges like any other community, but at the end of the day, having great leadership in public service, and especially the area of the police chief, is so darn important. I mean, so much comes from that. Sound like with Chief Stevenson, you got a really good interim guy. I'm glad that he's applied for the permanent position. Sound like he has a great background. So you're not going to mess up by having that professional group of people involved in the selection process. It's wise of you to have done that.
Well, Rick, I've learned a long time ago, if you want a good outcome, you got to start off with a good beginning. And so you surround yourself with people that will give you a great chance of having a good outcome. So you get people like Chief Payne, who've done this work, a lot of respect up and down the Gulf Coast. He knows a lot of people because of that. And I know he's going to guide us through the process because, Rick, I always want to have people around me that know more about this stuff than I know. You know what I'm saying, Rick? If I'm at the table, I tell my staff, and when I have a staff meeting, if I'm the smartest guy at the table, I'm going to get another table because I don't want to be the smartest guy. I don't want to be the smartest guy. You see, so I want Chief Payne, the kind of guy like him that know more about what a chief police ought to look like and his experiences ought to be. He know better than I do. So I want him to advise me about that. Okay? So I know if I get that kind of advice, I can't go wrong with that.
I think you did exactly the right thing, and I can't agree more that surrounding yourself with smart people is the key to success. There's no doubt. Listen, Mayor, we're out of town, but it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, man. Keep on swinging. It's impressive you maintain that energy level.
Thank you, Rick, for inviting me, man, and don't forget me.
I will never forget you, man. You're my hero. This is Mayor Billy Knight from Moss Point. Have a great day, Billy. It's been a pleasure. When we come back, Jay Willis from the city of Pascagoula will be joining us. We'll see you after this.